Okay friends, to get started, the first thing we have to do is remove our door panel. To do that, I'm going to start right here by removing this Phillips head screw. The fork tool and remove this. Now we're going to use our trim tool, come underneath the front of this area here and pop it up. Let's remove the wiring from the back. Let's come right underneath this area with a pocket screwdriver. I'm going to pry this apart and then lift this up and out. It's always a good idea to check your electrical connectors. Make sure you don't see any corrosion. If you do, it needs to be dealt with. This looks great, so let's set it aside and continue. There we are. Remove that. All right, now the next thing we need to do is get underneath our grab handle. You're going to find a mounting bolt right here and then a second one right there. Let's remove the pair. Now let's continue on with our trim tool, and we're going to come in between the door panel and the door itself. I want to make sure I use a plastic trim tool because of course I don't want to damage my paint. Slide it in between and then gently pry away. Once you have it so it's starting to break free, you can carefully pry it away from the door. There we are. Let's go ahead and lift this up and get it out of here. All right, now that we have the door panel off, the next thing I'm going to want to do is remove my speaker from this area right here. You're going to notice that it's riveted in, so of course we're going to have to drill those out. Let's remove the wiring from this. There's a push tab right here. Go ahead and press in on that, and then remove that. Set your speaker aside. Okay, so now we can remove our vapor barrier. Right off here. So now that exposes our window regulator right here. The next thing we need to do is reconnect in our switch, so that way there we can put the window in the fully down position. Put your key in the on position and power your window down. Now we're going to use our pocket screwdriver, come right underneath this lip right here, and then draw down on the wiring for the motor. The next thing we're going to do is drill out the rivets that hold our window regulator to the door panel itself. We just want to be very careful as we're doing this. We don't shake around the window too much because of course it is glass and we don't want it to fall down. Now that we have the rivets out of the regulator, we're just going to carefully try to wiggle this and we're going to slide it back. The reason why we want to slide it back is because there's a channel that runs along this area here on the inside, and there's a little cog or a wheel. We want to slide that out of its channel, and then of course we'll continue on to removing the rest of the wheels from their channels along the bottom. There we are. Slide this in the opposite direction, slide it out down here. Now that we have all of the wheels out of their channels, we're going to continue on by lifting the window up so we have space to get this out. Now at this point you want to definitely be holding onto your window because if you let it go, there really isn't anything that's holding it up. There it is, friends. Easy peasy. Okay friends, now it's going to be time for our install. The next thing we're going to do, we're going to want to be very safe. I'm going to go ahead and plug this in to its corresponding connector, put the key in the on position, and we're going to need to power the window so it's all the way in the down position. You want to be very careful for any pinch points that might potentially pinch your finger in any way, so don't go anywhere near this cog or around any pivot areas. While I'm holding this, I'm going to be as far away as possible all the way down this area. Now with my hand as far away from this area as possible, I'm going to put the window in the down position. Perfect. When we put this in, something that we want to pay attention to is this area here. We want to make sure that both of the wheels down along this area are facing in the same direction. If you have it so it's backwards, you're going to have an issue with your installation. Okay, now that we have the window regulator into this position, we're going to carefully release the window and bring it down to its bottom position. Now we need to get that inside lower cog all the way down inside this channel right here. So we're just going to carefully lower this, and then we're going to try to put that inside. Okay, I got that slid into its channel. Now let's try to do the forward one. Just going to bring the window regulator forward. Slide it back. Perfect. Now we have it so the window regulator wheels are sitting inside both of their channels, down along the bottom of the window and along the inside of the door panel right here. Just going to start all 4 of my rivets in, and then of course we'll lock them in. There's one. Now that we have all the rivets in, let's continue on by plugging in our window motor, and then also plugging in the switch and testing the window. Make sure it doesn't bind in any position. This is perfect. Let's continue. Now obviously we don't want to leave this much wiring just laying around inside of our door panel once we put it back together. I'm just going to use a couple wire ties, or of course you can use tape, and just kind of make it so it looks nice and pretty and it's secured. Now that the wiring is nice and secured, let's move down to where the stereo speaker is supposed to be. You remember that we drilled out those rivets. Of course we need to make sure that those holes are free and clear so we can put in new rivets with our speaker. Now it's time to put on our vapor barrier. Let's line it up with approximately where it was before, and then stick it right on there. Now it's time to put in the speaker. First, of course, we want to make sure that we connect it in. Bring the wire right up through this area here. Now we're going to line up all of our holes and put in our rivets. But we have all the rivets in, we can continue on by putting on our door panel. To put on the inside trim panel here, let's go ahead and grab the wiring, pull it through right here. Along the top, you're going to feel that you have a lip right along this area. It needs to fit over this right here. So come up high and then bring it down low. Now that we have it down, look inside and just make sure that all your little pitons are lined up with their holes. Once they are, just go ahead and push it in. Put this on. If you were to look at the back side, you can see it has a little hooky-doo here. That's going to need to slide underneath this ridge. Come in at an angle, slide it under, and then press this in. There we are. Now we can start in our mounting screw and snug it up. Next, we're going to come underneath the grab handle and put in 2 of our mounting bolts. Make sure that's nice and tight, and do the same to the other one. Let's put in our little piton. Now it's time to get our switch on here. Okay, double check them all, make sure they're secured. Something you want to pay attention to is this area along here. It's a little hooky-doo, needs to slide underneath this. Once it's under, go ahead and push this down and lock it in. Now that it's all back together, let's just test our window. We're going to go all the way up and then make sure it functions all the way down. Perfect.